Hey guys, it's Mario here, coming at you from Barcelona. Finally got a little bit of luck with the weather, so I can come out here and film a cool video for you guys. But a topic that was on my mind for a very long time, something that I would say a lot of fitness personalities, a lot of coaches, a lot of people are kind of avoiding. It's a topic of individual differences. And that's something I want to talk to you guys a bit about here in this video and really give you my perspective on the whole idea of how certain things that you are doing, let's say cardio, resistance training, nutrition, fasting, can have a totally different effect on different people and how you can potentially adjust your program to make sure that it fits your exact response. Now, often I'm gonna get asked, hey Mario, what's your height? What's your weight? What's the max that you can do on a squat or in a bench press? What's your body fat, right? I get asked this question or some related question to that pretty much every single day, whether it's on Instagram, Snapchat, anywhere in social media. In the comments, you probably read a lot of comments like that. Now, that question itself, I mean, of course I can just answer it, hey, I'm 5'10". So what? But where that question is coming from, usually, is from the perspective, what's your height and weight and body fat in relation to my height, weight, and my body fat? So if I follow your exact program, and I often get asked, what is my exact program? I want to get that exact outcome. And it's kind of looking at the outcome, which when we finish this video and by the end of it, you're going to realize that it's totally going to be dependent on whatever your response is. So we cannot do the exact same program, and even if we do the exact same program, you're not gonna get the same exact results, and you can actually never look like someone else, right? You have your own design. It's same as like my face is not like your face, your body is not like my body. You have your leverages, you have your muscle insertions, you have your response pretty much in everything that is very unique toward you. So trying to kind of copy, I guess, or when people are looking at certain workouts, let's say you go on Instagram or you go on Facebook, you're being bombarded with ads such as, hey, look like Chris Hemsworth, or look like Thor in the movie, or look like Superman, look like Captain America, whatever it is. And people are actually falling for these ads because they're like, okay, if I just follow this program, I'm gonna look exactly like that. And the problem with that is that you will not. And it often leads to a lot of disappointment. I'm not saying that you will not, maybe you will, all right? Maybe you have that exact type of body like he does, but the cases are you probably don't. And there's gonna be some differences anyway. And that's the thing, right? Even if we have the same exact body fat percentage, the same weight, same height, we're lifting the same amount of weight in the gym, you might look totally different, right? And that's okay, because you can ultimately only become the best you can become, and you can only focus on your own progress compared to how you looked yesterday, month before, a year before. And that progress really is what it matters. At the end of the day, you want to become the best you can be. Now, when we talk about individual differences, there's a great article written on this topic by James Krieger. It was posted on Brett Contreras' site. I've shared it on my social media. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to link it in the description below for you guys that want to read more about that. And James really broke down some of the research, and I had James on a podcast multiple times in the channel, which I'm also going to link in the description below for you guys. And when he talked about individual differences, he focused on the cardio, resistance training, and in general, how that might affect your programming. So let's talk a bit about cardio individual differences. So we know, looking at the research, that certain people, by just doing cardio, might feel hungrier, so they might lead to overeating just because they've done some cardio. On the other hand, there's other people who will respond as a total opposite, and they're gonna have a blunted appetite because they did some cardio. Now, I get asked, hey man, should I do cardio? Well, it depends, right? The answer, it depends, often kind of pisses people off, but it truly does depend on your individual response, which you have to kind of figure out. So what if you are that person that is super hungry because you just did 20 minutes of cardio? Of course you wouldn't want to do 20 minutes of cardio. You might benefit more from a calorie reduction method, let's say coming from your diet, or maybe you increase your expenditure in your resistance training routine, or some other form of cardio that might not give you that exact response. Now there's multiple other things that we want to look at here. Maybe in certain cases cardio makes you mentally depleted. So I know a lot of people like that. I personally feel like after doing, let's say, 30 to 45 minutes of cardio, like kind of a steady state stationary bike or running or something similar, I'm totally wrecked, right? I'm not just wrecked physically, but also mentally. I feel like I'm not getting those boosts that a lot of people will claim, and that's true because I have clients who swear by doing 20 minutes of cardio in the morning, and it kind of sets up their day for success, and they feel like it increases their focus and increases their cognition. They feel much better about themselves, and that's their response. While my response is the total exact opposite. So it is important for you to kind of figure that out, whether that works for you or not. Similarly, there's other people as well. One interesting study there is that certain people from doing cardio might actually compensate with less NEAT, meaning that their non-exercise activity will be reduced. They will be slouching more. They're not going to be able to maintain their posture as much. They're going to be fidgeting less, and all these other kind of subtle things that are happening. And they will reduce their energy expenditure in the other period of the day because they've done some cardio and just because it's a part of their program. So universally saying that cardio will work for everybody or that it won't work for everybody, it's kind of a place where people like to think, the black and white kind of mentality, but it's really about coming down, okay, self-awareness. How do I respond to this? Give it a couple of weeks and figure it out. Similarly, with resistance training, the topic that is often not talked about, how different types of volumes, intensities, and frequencies might affect your individual response. Let's say we compare volume. Standard recommendation, 10 sets per muscle group per week. That's kind of a starting point. Some people might actually grow really well in 8 sets per body part per week, while other people might need 15. And then on the other hand, someone might be able to recover from 15 without any issues, while another person might be totally beat up for 3 weeks because they've done some, let's say, high volume, lower body day. And in that case as well, we have to look at what the response is, and then we have to be able to adjust the program. Similarly with intensity, some people are more prone to injuries and their connective tissue can't handle work at a high intensity. High intensity meaning heavy weights, lower reps. So those people might respond better to sticking to a moderate repetition range where they will gather their volume like that and be able to focus on hypertrophy as well as build some strength. Of course, you are building strength across the repetition ranges. So we have to look at these responses. This is often not looked at because the guru can't just tell you, well, this might work or not. No, the guru has to tell you, this is the fucking program. You follow this to the letter and you're gonna get your results, because that will sell. If he tells you this might work for you or might not work for you, obviously you will be you'll be like confused a little bit. Well, what is gonna happen here? And then you're not gonna buy the program. And that's from a marketing perspective, you want to have clarity. That's one of the basic rules of marketing. You have to be very clear with your message and with the outcome. And that's a problem with fitness and nutrition, because that outcome there is not guaranteed. Similarly with fasting. Some people will respond amazingly to fasting. They will not be hungry. They'll be able to live the lifestyle with no problems, no compensation whatsoever. While on the other hand, some people might be prone to compensating for those periods where they fasted. So they might be eating a lot more food on the other times when their eating window kicks in. Or similarly, someone might find that certain trigger foods for them are totally opposite than to other people. For me, I know if I have peanut butter in the house, I'm gonna binge on peanut butter. Another person might be binging on chocolate. Someone might be binging on pretzels. Totally different. Should we judge which foods should be in one's diet or not? Hell no, right? It totally depends on your response. Similarly, as I like red peppers and it's my favorite vegetable, someone might hate red peppers. So when you get a question, which foods should I eat to get, let's say, to my calories and macro goals, it really depends on what's your personal preference. Taste can actually change as well, which is another layer of complexity. And I know complex messages don't work really well. I know that's one of the reasons why the drama and simplifications and black and white kind of messages work really well on YouTube. A lot of, I'd say, general public will respond to that, and they will also respond to certain fear-based tactics. Eat this or you're gonna get cancer, or if you do this, you're gonna end up in a hospital one day. Things like that, right? People respond to these kind of messages, and people avoid the nuance points. Stuff here that I'm talking to you about is completely nuanced. It's something that you actually have to put in effort. And that's why people hate it, right? They don't like to hear this kind of stuff. And it also means that they have to question their gurus. They have to question their programs. They have to question what they're doing. And people hate doing that, right? If you're an Apple person, you hate it when someone says, well, this Android phone might be better than your iPhone. You know, you're gonna have to find a way to self-justify that. Similarly for the Android person, if someone says, hey, this new iPhone has the best camera in the world, you're gonna be like, no, my Android phone is better because of this and this, right? You're gonna find reasons. And luckily here in Barcelona, we're not in trouble right now. It seems like this ambulance is like running around the city all the time. There's a lot of stuff happening, big city. And something that, again, I have to bring back to the point is that self-experimentation goes a really long way, because we know in the research studies, when we are looking at graphs which show and represent the results from a study, is that you're gonna have a weird curve where some people will get 0 results, some people will get massive results, and then the research will report the average. It's gonna report the mean value. And now where you are in that, either where you're close to the average or whether you're below or above, that's something you have to figure out for yourself. And we use research as a starting point. Similarly, as I said there, 10 sets per muscle group per week is a starting point. And then from there, you adjust your program. Same with cardio. You try to do a couple of sessions of cardio for a few weeks, see what's your response. Similar with fasting. You try it for a couple of weeks to see what's your response. Same with different foods in your diet. You gotta figure this out for yourself. And what a coach really does is he guides you through the process. Me as a coach, what I'm doing essentially is kind of a guided process where the person is learning about themselves so they can kind of figure this out. And I know which questions to ask so the person can give the answers and they can become more aware of the issue. And that's what coaching really is about. Because we don't know. I mean, with a lot of experience, obviously, I know now approximately what the person might respond to based on their history when I get a lot of data, but nobody knows exactly what program you need to do. If you ask a question in the comments, say, hey, should I do 5 times 5? How am I supposed to know that, right? And that's the thing, right? As someone who, let's say I have to admit that I don't know, a lot of people will be, okay, it's like, okay, he probably doesn't know, right? It's not that, it's that we need more data. There needs to be more context. What's your training age? What's your training experience? Have you ever been injured? What lifts can you do? How's your mobility on squats? Can you actually go deep? Do you actually are able to hit the parallel before butt wing kicks in and other factors, right? Can you do deadlifts or you get wrecked for the next 3 weeks because you did deadlifts? Can you adhere to a caloric deficit, or you are super hungry and you feel like your total life is being wrecked by that, right? We have to figure these things out, and then based on that, we can kind of start to give our recommendations. We can figure out your sleep patterns. We can figure out what time of the day you should work out. That's how it works, guys. And that's, sadly, it is much more complicated than most people want to admit, but it's also simple at the end of the day, all right? It is about getting stronger. It is about getting better than you were yesterday. So it is about that progression. It is about finding ways how you can stick with a caloric deficit if your goal is fat loss. It is about getting sufficient amount of sleep so you can actually get your results, so you're not hindered by that. It is really about finding a sustainable lifestyle approach and not trying to do something like a 6-month thing or a 3-month thing, which ultimately doesn't lead to long-term success because you're so short-sighted. You're looking at a quick fix, you're looking at a shortcut, where we know ultimately that real change has to come from the fact that you're changing your lifestyle, you're committing to a certain lifestyle, whether that's ketogenic diet, whether that's a vegan approach, whether that's vegetarian, whether that's paleo, whether that's balanced if it fits your macros. Whatever approach really works for you, whatever approach allows you to get your macronutrition, your micronutrition, eating whole healthy foods, getting that on a consistent basis where you feel good about yourself, where you're really getting the results, that is the focus. And it is simple at the end of the day, but it can also be much more complicated. And a lot of people want you to they don't want you to know because it will confuse you so much that you're not gonna buy the product. You know, that's one of the reasons why I made this video, to really point it out. And I'm not against products. I'm gonna be putting out a product as well soon. It is going to be a product that is going to allow you to kind of figure out your own way and find out your own workout program and your own nutrition and all that stuff. But it is going to be, again, something that might not work for everybody. And that's cool. That's how it's supposed to work, right? And then from there, you can kind of find what will work. And that's something I want to share with you guys. Hope you enjoyed. It's a little bit of a rant, actually, here, because I see this topic and often it's not covered. And I hope this helps you a little bit more to understand the nuances when it comes to fitness and nutrition. Aside from that, hope you're having fun wherever you are. Hope you're making some good gains in the gym. Don't skip your vegetables, get your sleep, get stronger in the gym. That's what it's all about. Become the best human being that you can become. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.